Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a simple but uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they quit too early. Now stay with me till the end of this speech, because what I'm about to share is not motivation you'll feel for a moment. It's a mindset that can quietly change the direction of your entire life. You see, success is rarely dramatic. It doesn't knock loudly. It doesn't arrive overnight. Success whispers, and only the patient are close enough to hear it. The ultra-successful understand something most people overlook. Life rewards those who can wait without stopping and work without complaining. Patience, the power of staying long enough. Patience is not about doing nothing. Patience is about doing the right thing long enough without seeing immediate results. Think of a seed underground. For days, nothing happens. For weeks, still nothing. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. And here's the lesson. If you dig the seed up every day to check progress, you kill the process. Ultra-successful people don't panic when results are slow. They understand that delay is not denial, it's development, consistency, the silent force of achievement. Now let's talk about consistency. Consistency is not about doing something big once. It's about doing something small every single day, especially when no one is watching. Most people ask, how long will it take to succeed? The better question is, how long am I willing to stay consistent without applause? Ultra-successful people don't rely on mood. They don't wait for inspiration. They build habits, and habits carry them forward when motivation disappears. Small disciplines, big outcomes. Success doesn't come from one giant decision. It comes from tiny disciplines practiced daily. Reading a few pages, learning one skill, improving 1%. These actions seem insignificant until time multiplies them. Remember this, what you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. Why most people quit too soon? People quit because they expect progress before growth. They want results without routine. They want rewards without repetition. But life doesn't work that way. Ultra-successful people understand this law. First you become, then you receive. If you stay till the end of this speech, remember this one idea. You don't need more motivation. You need more patience with yourself and more consistency with your actions. If you can master those two, patience and consistency, time will eventually work in your favor. And one day, people will call you lucky. But you know the truth, you were not lucky. You were disciplined when it was boring, patient when it was slow, and consistent when it was hard. That is the habit of the ultra-successful. When most people hear the word patience, they imagine stillness. They think patience means sitting quietly, doing nothing, hoping that one day life will magically improve. But the truth is far more powerful. Patience is not passive. Patience is active preparation. The ultra-successful understand this difference clearly. While others are waiting for the right time, they are sharpening their skills. While others are complaining about slow progress, they are strengthening their foundation. Patience for them is not an excuse to pause. It is a commitment to improve quietly until opportunity arrives. Think about this for a moment. Every meaningful achievement requires a period where effort is invisible. No applause, no recognition, no immediate reward. This is where most people lose heart. They mistake silence for failure. But silence is often the sound of growth happening beneath the surface. The farmer does not shout at the soil to grow faster. He prepares the land. He plants carefully. He waters consistently. And then he waits not in laziness, but in trust and readiness. That is patience. True patience is the discipline to continue doing what is necessary even when results are delayed. It is waking up every day and honoring the process, knowing that time will eventually reward preparation. The ultra-successful do not rush outcomes because they understand a simple principle: anything forced before its time is fragile. Impatience wants shortcuts. Patience builds strength. Look closely at people who fail early. They are not always untalented. They are not always lazy. Most of the time, they are simply unwilling to endure the season of preparation. They want success before they are ready to handle it. But success given too early becomes a burden instead of a blessing. Preparation creates confidence. Preparation creates stability. Preparation creates longevity. Patience allows you to become the person capable of sustaining success, not just achieving it. Another powerful truth the ultra-successful live by is this: waiting is not wasted time if you are growing. Time only becomes an enemy when you stand still. But when you are learning, practicing, refining, and improving, time becomes your greatest ally. Every day you remain patient, you gain something valuable: experience, discipline, clarity, resilience. These qualities cannot be rushed. They are earned slowly through repetition and persistence. This is why patience often separates professionals from amateurs. Amateurs demand results quickly. Professionals commit to mastery. They know that growth happens layer by layer, not all at once. Patience also teaches emotional control. When you stop reacting to delays with frustration, you gain power over yourself. And the moment you control your emotions, you begin to control your outcomes. The ultra-successful do not allow temporary delays to dictate permanent decisions. They understand that life is seasonal. There is a time to plant, a time to grow, and a time to harvest. Confusing these seasons leads to disappointment. Respecting them leads to fulfillment. So if progress feels slow right now, ask yourself this question: am I waiting or am I preparing? because waiting drains energy, but preparation builds momentum. Patience is not about enduring hardship silently. It is about using that time to strengthen your character, sharpen your skills, and deepen your understanding. When opportunity finally arrives, and it always does for the prepared, you will not be scrambling, you will be ready. And that readiness is what turns patience into power. Success is rarely the result of one brilliant move. It is almost always the outcome of ordinary actions repeated faithfully over time, the quieter truth that separates dreamers from achievers. Consistency is not exciting. It doesn't create instant applause. It doesn't feel heroic. And yet, consistency is the most powerful force behind long-term success. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They search for breakthroughs while ignoring the daily actions that actually create them. Ultra-successful people think differently. They understand that progress compounds, but only when effort is applied regularly. A single workout does not transform a body. A single day of study does not create mastery. A single good decision does not build a great life. But repeated actions, even small ones, have a multiplying effect. Consistency is the discipline to show up even when the work feels routine, even when motivation is low, even when results are not yet visible. This is where most people struggle, not because the task is difficult, but because it is repetitive. The mind craves novelty, excitement, and quick rewards. Consistency asks for commitment without constant stimulation. It asks you to trust that small steps taken daily will eventually take you far. Ultra-successful people do not rely on motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls with mood and circumstance. Instead, they rely on systems and habits. They design their lives so progress happens even on days when they don't feel like it. Consistency turns effort into identity. You don't just try anymore, you become. The writer who writes every day becomes a professional. The learner who studies daily becomes skilled. The individual who improves a little each day becomes unstoppable. What makes consistency so powerful is not intensity, but accumulation. One page read today, one skill practice today, one decision aligned with your goals today. These actions seem insignificant in isolation. This is why inconsistency is so costly. Starting and stopping repeatedly creates frustration, self-doubt, and wasted energy. Every restart requires extra effort. Ultra-successful people avoid this trap by focusing on rhythm rather than speed. They understand that slow and steady progress beats fast and scattered effort. Consistency also builds self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen confidence. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through. That belief becomes fuel for bigger goals. And here's an important distinction. Consistency does not mean perfection. It means persistence. Miss a day, resume the next. Make a mistake, correct it, and continue. Ultra-successful people do not quit because of minor setbacks. They adjust, recommit, and move forward. Life rewards reliability. Skills grow where effort is repeated. Opportunities appear where discipline is consistent. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes progress easier. What once required discipline eventually becomes habit, and habit reduces resistance. Over time, consistency becomes less about willpower and more about identity. You stop asking, should I do this today? You simply do it because that's who you are. So the question is not whether your actions are impressive today. The question is whether they are repeatable tomorrow. Because ordinary actions performed consistently do something extraordinary. They turn potential into performance. They turn effort into excellence. They turn time into transformation. And that is why consistency remains one of the most powerful habits of the ultra-successful. Great success is never the result of dramatic overnight change. It is built quietly through small disciplines practiced daily. Most people look for big moves, life-changing moments, or powerful opportunities. But the ultra-successful know a deeper truth. Your life does not change in leaps, it changes in inches. And those inches added up over time create extraordinary distance. Small disciplines are easy to ignore because they seem insignificant. Reading 10 pages, practicing a skill for 20 minutes, making one healthy choice, planning the day instead of drifting through it. These actions do not feel powerful in the moment, and that is precisely why most people neglect them. But small disciplines have a hidden strength. They compound. What makes them powerful is not their size. When an action is repeated daily, it begins to shape behavior. Behavior shapes habits. Habits shape character. And character ultimately shapes destiny. Ultra-successful people understand that discipline does not require intensity, it requires consistency. They do not exhaust themselves trying to change everything at once. Instead, they focus on doing a few simple things well every single day. They respect the process. Small disciplines reduce resistance. Big goals often feel overwhelming and intimidating, but small actions feel manageable. Anyone can take one step. Anyone can improve a little. And once action begins, momentum follows. This is why small disciplines are sustainable. They fit into real life. They don't depend on perfect conditions or endless motivation. They can be done on good days and bad days alike. Over time, they become automatic, and what becomes automatic becomes powerful. Neglect works the same way, but in the opposite direction. Just a small positive actions compound, so do small negative ones, skipping preparation, avoiding responsibility, choosing comfort repeatedly. These habits also seem harmless until time magnifies their consequences. Ultra-successful people are aware of this silent law. What you practice daily, you become good at, whether you intend to or not. This awareness makes them intentional. They understand that discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect. It is choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It is doing today what others postpone, knowing that tomorrow belongs to those who prepared yesterday. Small disciplines also create stability. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline remains. On days when enthusiasm fades, discipline keeps progress alive. It removes emotion from decision-making and replaces it with commitment. You don't ask yourself, do I feel like doing this? You ask, is this aligned with who I want to become? And that shift changes everything. Another powerful result of daily discipline is confidence. Every small promise kept strengthens trust in yourself. Over time, you begin to see yourself as reliable, capable, and disciplined. This self-belief becomes the foundation for larger goals and greater challenges. Massive success is not built by extraordinary people. It is built by ordinary people who manage their daily actions exceptionally well. They don't wait for perfect timing. They don't chase shortcuts. They don't abandon the process when progress feels slow. They simply repeat small disciplines long enough for results to become inevitable. So if success feels distant, don't ask what major change you need to make. Ask instead, what small discipline can I begin today and repeat tomorrow? Because the future is not shaped by intentions, it is shaped by what you do daily. And when small disciplines are repeated with patience and consistency, they quietly create massive success. Most people only notice success when it becomes visible. They see the applause, the recognition, the rewards. What they rarely see is the long, quiet season that came before it. Ultra-successful people understand a truth that most overlook. Success is constructed in silence long before it is announced in public. Before there is praise, there is preparation. Before recognition, there is repetition. Before achievement, there is endurance. The early stages of success are often lonely. There is no audience, no validation, and no guarantee. Progress happens slowly, and doubt speaks loudly. This is where many people give up, not because they are incapable, but because they expect encouragement before results. But silence is not absence. Silence is the workshop where success is built. In the quiet phase, skills are developed. Character is shaped, discipline is strengthened. The ultra-successful are comfortable working without attention because they are focused on improvement, not approval. They do not perform for the crowd, they prepare for the future. Quiet effort creates strong foundations. Loud success without a foundation collapses quickly. When achievements come before maturity, pressure replaces purpose. That is why many people rise fast and fall faster. They were celebrated before they were ready. The ultra-successful avoid this trap. They value growth more than exposure. They understand that depth comes before display. They practice when no one is watching. They learn when no one is praising. They persist when no one is clapping. And that is what makes their success sustainable. Another important lesson of quiet work is humility. When you build something without recognition, you develop internal strength. You learn to rely on discipline rather than validation. This independence becomes a powerful asset. It allows you to stay grounded even when success eventually arrives. Quiet seasons also reveal commitment. Anyone can work hard when the spotlight is on. Very few can work hard when effort goes unnoticed. The willingness to continue without applause separates serious builders from casual participants. Ultra-successful people do not announce every step. They understand that progress does not need publicity, it needs protection. Early sharing invites opinions, distractions, and unnecessary pressure. Silence keeps focus intact. This is why preparation is often private and mastery is often misunderstood until it is complete. When success finally becomes visible, people call it sudden. But nothing about it was sudden. It was earned through months or years of quiet effort. The applause may be loud, but the construction was silent. There is also peace in building quietly. You move at your own pace. You make mistakes without judgment. You grow without comparison. This freedom allows learning to deepen and confidence to develop naturally. Ultra-successful people know that comparison kills concentration. Silence shields them from distraction and keeps their energy directed toward progress rather than performance. So if you feel unnoticed right now, remember this: you are not behind. You are not failing. You may simply be in the quiet phase. And the quiet phase is not something to escape. It is something to respect. Because when your work is done quietly and thoroughly, celebration becomes inevitable. And when recognition finally comes, it rests on a foundation strong enough to support it. Build quietly, prepare patiently, work consistently. Let success speak for itself. Motivation is a wonderful feeling. It inspires action, creates excitement, and makes new beginnings feel possible. But motivation has one serious weakness: it doesn't last. It rises with enthusiasm and fades with difficulty. Ultra-successful people understand this reality, which is why they don't build their lives on motivation. They build them on habits. Motivation starts the journey. Habits determine whether you finish it. Most people wait to feel like taking action. They expect energy before effort. But feelings are unpredictable. Some days you wake up inspired, other days you don't. If progress depends on motivation, progress will always be inconsistent. Habits remove emotion from action. They turn decisions into routines. When something becomes a habit, it no longer requires excitement. It requires commitment. Ultra-successful people design habits that carry them forward even on days when motivation is absent. They don't ask, "Do I feel like doing this today?" They ask, "Is this part of who I am?" This shift is powerful. Habits are evidence of identity. What you do repeatedly reflects who you believe you are. A person who identifies as disciplined acts differently than one who relies on bursts of inspiration. Over time, habits reinforce identity, and identity strengthens habits. This cycle is what creates lasting success. Another truth the ultra-successful live by is this: you will always fall to the level of your habits. In moments of stress, pressure, or fatigue, you don't rise to your goals, you revert to what is familiar. That is why habits matter more than intentions. Good intentions sound impressive, good habits produce results. Habits also protect progress. They create structure in uncertain times. When life becomes chaotic, habits provide stability. They keep forward motion alive when circumstances are unpredictable. Ultra-successful people understand that habits must be built deliberately. They don't rely on willpower alone. Willpower is limited. Instead, they shape their environment to support consistency. They remove friction from positive habits and add friction to negative ones. They make success easier by design. Another important lesson about habits is patience. Habits don't form overnight. They are built through repetition, not perfection. Missing a day does not destroy a habit, quitting does. Ultra-successful people don't abandon habits because of temporary inconsistency. They return quickly and continue. They measure progress over months, not moods. Habits compound silently. You may not notice improvement today or tomorrow, but over time, habits reshape capability, confidence, and character. Eventually, what once required effort becomes automatic, and when progress becomes automatic, growth accelerates. This is why ultra-successful people focus on daily systems rather than distant outcomes. They know that if the system is right, results will follow. They don't chase success, they practice success. Motivation will always come and go, but habits stay, and when habits align with purpose, they become unstoppable. So if you are waiting to feel motivated, stop waiting. Instead, ask yourself, what habit, if practiced daily, would move my life in the right direction? Because you don't rise to motivation in difficult moments, you rise to what you have practiced consistently. And that is why habits, not motivation, determine the height of your success. Everyone wants results, but very few are willing to respect the process. They want the harvest without the season. They want the reward without the routine. Ultra-successful people understand something fundamental. Time does not work against you, it works for you if you know how to cooperate with it. Time is not impressed by urgency, it responds only to consistency. The process is the sequence of actions required for growth. It is often slow, repetitive, and unglamorous. And that is exactly why most people avoid it. They rush ahead, skip steps, and then wonder why progress feels unstable. But growth cannot be rushed. Skills require practice. Strength requires repetition. Wisdom requires experience. These things unfold only through time. Ultra-successful people respect this reality. They do not fight time, they partner with it. They understand that every meaningful result has a natural timeline. You cannot compress maturity. You cannot shortcut mastery. Anything gained too quickly is often lost just as fast. Respecting the process means committing to daily effort without demanding immediate proof. It means showing up even when improvement feels invisible. It means trusting that consistent action, applied over time, will eventually produce undeniable results. This mindset creates patience without passivity. The ultra-successful are not idle, they are intentional. They work steadily, improve gradually, and measure progress realistically. They do not panic when results are delayed because they know time is still working. The process also teaches resilience. When you commit to a long-term path, you learn how to endure discomfort without quitting. You develop emotional strength. You stop reacting to every obstacle and start responding with discipline. Time reveals the difference between interest and commitment. Anyone can be interested for a short period. Only those who respect the process remain committed when progress slows. Ultra-successful people stay when others leave. They do not chase fast wins, they build lasting value. Another powerful truth is this: time multiplies whatever you feed it. If you give time, effort, learning, and discipline, it returns growth, skill, and opportunity. If you give it excuses, inconsistency, and impatience, it returns stagnation. Time is neutral. It amplifies behavior. Respecting the process also reduces anxiety. When you stop forcing outcomes, you begin focusing on actions you can control. You trade frustration for focus. You shift attention from results to responsibility. And responsibility creates progress. Ultra-successful people measure success differently. They don't ask, "How fast am I winning?" They ask, "Am I improving?" They understand that sustainable growth is always gradual before it becomes obvious. And when results finally appear, they appear strong. People often say, "It took years to become successful." What they don't realize is that those years were not waiting, they were working. Time rewards those who show up consistently, stay patient during uncertainty, and trust the process even when outcomes are delayed. It penalizes those who rush, quit early, or disrespect the sequence of growth. So if you feel like progress is slow, remember this. Slow growth is not failure. It is foundation. Stay with the process. Honor the timeline. Let time do its work. Because in the end, time does not reward talent alone. It rewards discipline, patience, and persistence. And those who respect the process never lose. They either learn or they succeed.